Well, I had planned to make this video a few weeks ago when it was first announced, but life got in the way. A new Warhammer 40,000 tabletop RPG is coming out, and it's exactly what many of us have been waiting for years. Let's take a look. Cubicle 7, producers of the action-packed 40k RPG Wrath and Glory and the excellent gritty Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition, have recently announced that they are returning to the roots of Warhammer 40,000 roleplaying and are returning to the D100 system made popular by the last generation of Warhammer 40,000 RPGs, namely Dark Heresy, Rogue Trader, Death Watch, Black Crusade, Only War, and Dark Heresy 2nd edition. If you've not heard of these games before, I actually made a video covering each one of these briefly as one of the first videos I ever made for this channel, which I can link to in the description. But if you've never played a tabletop role-playing game before, basically think of this as Dungeons & Dragons, but for Warhammer 40,000. Rather than two players collecting armies and playing a battle against each other, role-playing games will see a group of 2 to 5 or so players creating a character, then playing and living as that character through an adventure created by another player called a Games Master, who sets the scene of what's happening, describes what your characters see, taste and hear. You tell the Games Master what it is you want your character to do, and they'll narrate back what happens. If at any point there's a chance your character will fail in a task or combat occurs, that's where the dice come out, and the game rules help you resolve that encounter. The point is, rather than always fighting battles, you and your fellow players get to explore the setting of Warhammer 40,000 through the eyes and ears of your character, regardless of whether you play the game with miniatures or not. So, what do we know about the new game, and what makes it different from the current Warhammer 40,000 RPG, Wrath and Glory? The new game is officially titled Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Maledictum. Naturally, you'll be able to tell stories set across the Imperium. The default location they're fleshing out for this game is the Macarian sector, named after Lord Solar Macarius. The rulebook will give players and games masters the rules they need to start playing, a guide on the Macarian sector, information on patrons to serve and enemies to face. But how is it different from Wrath and Glory? First of all, Imperium Maledictum is going back to the D100 system, instead of using the D6 dice pool system of Wrath and Glory. The original Dark Heresy was heavily based off the D100 game, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, and the games which followed in that line took that basic formula and iterated on it. After the game line was finished and subsequently abandoned, the D100 system lived on in the excellent Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition produced by Cubicle 7, which represents the latest, and in my opinion best, iteration of this rule system. I had been secretly hoping they would one day return to this system for Warhammer 40,000 Roleplay, and it looks like this is exactly what they're doing. The announcement article on the Cubicle 7 website reads, Imperium Maledictum builds on previous Warhammer 40,000 D100 role-playing games, as well as Cubicle 7's own award-winning Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition. If it's going back to its roots like this, then it would be fair to speculate that maybe we're moving away from the high power level of Wrath and Glory's Space Marine or Inquisitor or Eldari archetypal characters and bringing it back down to the much more personal, human on the street level. The article from Polygon seems to confirm this, with creative director Emmett Byrne telling Polygon, Imperium Maledictum is about being much more lower level investigators trying to work against or work within the mechanisms of the Imperium. Players will build their characters as part of a warband, which each of its characters bound to a powerful patron such as an Inquisitor or some other high-ranking Imperial official. The patron will be responsible for the warband's quests and objectives, as well as the resources they have at their disposal, but will also invest characters with the authority needed to break through the Imperium's crippling bureaucracy. So far, this very much sounds like Dark Heresy 3rd edition in all but name, but with the added caveat that players are not necessarily part of the Inquisition and could be part of another Imperial body. Byrne confirmed that the line will quickly expand with books on vehicles and weapons. From there, Cubicle 7 will publish faction-specific materials such as books that detail working for the aforementioned Inquisition or Ecclesiarchy, the Astra Militarum, or even the Astra Telepathica. At the time of making this video, we don't know much else about this upcoming game, other than the fact it's set to release this fall at the earliest, launching with a core rulebook, a Games Master screen, and a box starter set. The first official ventures will come out at the same time as free PDF files, which is a nice touch. Cubicle 7 want to move away from having introduction scenarios in rulebooks, as they simply become dead pages once you've run it, so offering some free adventures as PDF files at launch is a great move. So there we have it. It's an exciting time for 40k roleplaying, and an exciting time for this channel. When I first conceptualized this channel, I was originally going to do a lot more 40k RPG content for the D100 systems, but I had a few hurdles along the way, which is why recently I've been focused on the other side of the channel a lot more, tabletop wargaming, namely Kill Team. I actually had a number of videos in the work covering the 40k RPGs, but it looks like I'm going to be pivoting the RPG side of things to cover Imperium Maledictum instead. Be sure to hit like and subscribe if you want to find out more about Imperium Maledictum as the information comes out, and if you like what we do here, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can gain access to some perks and benefits as a thank you. These perks include things such as being able to see some of our videos, such as our battle reports early, exclusive access to our private Discord server so you can come along and chat to us, and more. So that about wraps up this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you play any of the Warhammer 40,000 role-playing games already? And does this announcement have you excited, or maybe you're considering using Imperium Maledictum as a jumping in point to join this side of the hobby? Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video.